Hi guys, it's Kelly here and I'm back again with another video. Today I am going to be using this Deconstructed coloring book from my friend Emily Midgett. Emily does some illustration for some companies that I work for, some companies that I don't, but she is endlessly talented and I totally adore her. So basically she decided to create these sets with her own illustrations. She sells them on her blog. I will link that below if you're watching on YouTube, or obviously if you're watching on the blog, it will be linked there as well. And I used kind of like one or two from each set. So one set is framed, one set is not. You get four panels in each set for US shipping. They are $8 on Nina 80-pound solar white cardstock, or $10 on watercolor paper. I'm not sure what kind she uses. She probably lists that on her blog. If you're international, you would just add $4 for the shipping. So these are just really, they're already cut to A2 size cards, which if you're not sure what that is, it's 4¼ by 5½. So they're basically pre-made card fronts. And you can use them as card fronts. You could frame them. You could do a lot of things with them. I think they're super pretty. You know, I love florals. These were great for me to just kind of take to work with me and color, or if you have kids who are in activities, like grab your colored pencils or a handful of markers and take them with you. This also happened to fit very well into the Kathy Rakusen's 30-day coloring challenge, which is going on right now. So, I don't know, it was just kind of nice to play with pretty pictures. Here, I'm going to show you the making of this one card front, and then I'll show you some other examples of ones that I colored while I was at work. Obviously, could not film while I was there. But I super love mixing colors. I think you guys probably know that by now. I think that very often in nature you see just like, you know, it's a bluish purple or a blue and a purple or a pink and a purple. It's very rarely just one solid color. And so I kind of liked to play on that. I decided to do this particular flower purple and pink. So I'm going to add the shading as I would normally do, starting with my lightest color out to my darkest color back into my lightest. But for the purple, the violet, and if you're going by copic names, I'm only going to add that to the base of the flowers. And again, just doing the same thing that I usually do, you know, back and forth, going over them just to get the better blend. And I'm going to take this about halfway up each petal. And then I'm going to do the same thing for the red violet color or the pink, from the tips to the middle of the petal, and you'll see how they kind of blend. As far as blending colors, you really want to make sure you're paying attention to that second number on your copic cap. So for me, when I was picking my colors, the violets are a VO1, that's my lightest color, and then a VO4. For my red violets or my pinks, it's a RVO2 and an RVO4. So a 4 and a 2 will blend well with a 1 and a 4. So just that's what you want to keep in mind. It's that second number that makes the most difference in whether or not your colors will blend together. And if you're not sure, I mean, try it. Not on your finished piece, obviously, but try it on a piece of scrap paper and see if they blend well, or see if you like the colors that they make when they come together. If you don't, then pick something else. I mean, card making or any kind of art really is about kind of playing around and seeing what you like or what works for you. So, this is a little bit, I tried to leave in as much as I could of the video, because it is a little bit of a shorter one for me, because I didn't have to do any of the stamping, which is kind of nice. You know, it's nice sometimes when especially when you're lacking mojo, which fortunately right now I'm not suffering from that problem. But when you are, it's kind of nice to just have something that's kind of pre-planned out for you, and all you have to do is sit and color, and you can kind of distress and let your mind wander. And I really appreciate having things like that on hand, which is why I have, things like this. Or what was the other one that I really liked? The Altenew watercolor book. that one I really enjoyed as well. And again, it's just everything's kind of pre-done for you, and all I have to do is sit down and paint or color or, whatever I'm going to do with it. So, as far as Emily, I met Emily, probably 3 or 4 years ago, maybe longer. I don't know. It's funny how time gets away from you. But I met her at retreat. She actually I did not know her beforehand. I had seen a couple of things that she had done, but we weren't like friends or friendly or, chit-chatty or anything like that. And so I met her at retreat, and she is lovely. She's so funny and wonderful, and she and I get along really well. So it's nice to have like those people in the crafty industry that you're legit friends with, that you talk to about more than just crafting. She she's amazing, honestly. So I obviously, as you guys know, have Peanut. And I can tell you that raising one child who was colicky, who was a challenging baby, was very, very difficult, even in a two, you know what I mean? Like, I was obviously married to his father at the time. We were, a two-person household. And even then, it was very challenging. Emily has a set of twins, and they are super cute and adorable. And I know her husband's name is Chris. He actually makes pens, which if you follow her on Instagram, you've probably seen. They're in all of her pictures. Her husband makes those. How cool is that? So they each kind of have like their own thing and their own hobbies, which is awesome. I think it's super important in a relationship that you each kind of have your own deal, and then when you get together, you can talk about those things. You don't have to spend all of your time together, but anyway, so she has these sets of twins, and then last year, no, maybe it was 2019, yeah, I think it was 2019, she found out she was pregnant with another set of twins. Can you even imagine? Some of you probably can, because some of you have probably been in that same boat so now she has toddler twins, and now she's pregnant with her second set of twins. And then this pandemic hits. So it's cooped up in the house. Her husband was, I think, working from home for a while, but he's back out, working his regular job at his regular office. And so she has been, she was cooped up in the house. We all know how crazy that was. And for some of us, we're still doing it. I'm not vaccinated. I'm not going anywhere. I go to work, come home, pretty much my deal. And so she's cooped up in the house with these toddler twins, enormously pregnant, gives birth in the middle of this pandemic to another set of twins, and now she is rocking this mom thing, man. Well, first of all, stay-at-home mothers impress me endlessly anyway. Like, that's just real talk. I mean, everybody has different things that work for their life. Hold on, we have to go back to the card. So here now, I've done all of the pinks, and you can see I'm going back in with the purples. Whatever color you put on last, whatever color is quote-unquote on top, is going to be the one that you see the most of. So if you want your flowers to look more purple, then your purple should be last. If you want your flowers to look more pink, then when you're blending, your pink should be last. And you can try one, and if you don't like it, try the other. It's, either or. These two color combinations happen to be one of my favorites. I think that they look beautiful together. It's a super bold flower, which I am a big fan of because I just like bold colors. Y'all know that by now. And then I'm just going to do the centers with my usual like yellowish gold combination, and the leaves like a yellow green, just because green is the complementary color to pink. And so I figured that would be a nice way for that to stand out. So anywho, back to the stay-at-home moms. Like, I am endlessly amazed by that. Each parent, okay, you all have different challenges that come about. And I think traditionally for men, and I know for most men in my life, this is not always the case, but this is just my experience, have that pressure of being the provider, of being the person who's bringing in the money, of making sure your mortgage is paid and that you have enough money to do all of the things. And that's where a lot of the pressure they put on themselves comes from. When you're a mom, it's so very different. Because I think a lot of times as moms, you're caught between the things that you want for your children, the things that you want for your family, and the things that you want for yourself. And there is a lot of societal judgment and pressure. You know, if you're a working mom, you're supposed to be at home raising your kids. And if you're at home raising your kids, then how are you contributing to your family? And you don't do anything but, you know, sit on the couch and eat bonbons. And like, I remember, I will not name names, but I worked with this couple who had made the decision that his wife was going to be a stay-at-home mom and he was going to pick up extra, you know, side jobs and things like that in order to make up the income that they were going to lose by her being at home with their kids. And then on the flip side, we had another couple that was friends where they did not have any children, and he worked and she worked. And I remember that couple, they went to the other couple's birthday, one of their kids' birthday parties. And she was like so appalled because she's like, well, she just expects her husband to do everything. You know, she's not doing anything and she expects him to do everything. And she was like, you know, she just stays at home all day. And I was so like, have you ever just in your head been like, it's illegal to punch people in the face? Because like she could not grasp that the stay-at-home mom, not that he wasn't working hard, not that he wasn't taking care of his family, not that he wasn't contributing. That's not what I'm saying. But she was probably working 10 times harder with no breaks, with not being able to go to the bathroom by herself, with having to decide whether or not she actually could put her child down to go to the bathroom, with meals and cleanups and bath times and bedtimes and cleaning of the house and the cleaning up after them when they're too little to do it. It's just exhausting. It's mentally, it is so mentally exhausting. And like she was just sitting here in judgment of this other woman. And it just enraged me, just absolutely enraged me. Because until you have done it or until you are doing it, it's very, very difficult to know how challenging being a stay-at-home mother is. And like my mom was a stay-at-home mom until I was in 6th grade. And I say that because my mother didn't work a full-time job. My mom picked up jobs when she had to, and never complained about it. So over the years, like my father, I came from a blue collar family, and my dad would get laid off because he worked in the trades. So he would get laid off, and then, you know, that missing money has to come in from somewhere. Yes, he's getting unemployment, but unemployment is never the full amount of what you would be collecting if you were working full time, which is a whole other thing that a lot of people don't understand. And so during those times, my mom would get a job. You know, she worked at Walmart in the automotive section. She worked at it doesn't even exist anymore. It was called Warehouse of Fashions, but she worked at this women's clothing store. She worked like all of these little like odd retail jobs in the winter months to make up for that income that was missing because my dad was laid off. And I can tell you that even though I knew this as a child, like I knew that my mom would go to work sometimes and sometimes she would be home, I never knew like if we were broke or we weren't. I never knew if there was enough money coming in or there wasn't. My parents did an excellent job of making sure that we never felt that as kids, that we didn't even know what was going on. So now looking back at it as an adult and, you know, seeing what they did to make ends meet so that we could have all of the things that we needed, like I am in awe of my mom being a stay-at-home mother, because I know that it's something that would be very challenging for me. I've worked this career for 16 years, and to walk away from it would be very difficult for me because I've put in all of this time, and then for what? But also then be willing to go and work these jobs that probably didn't necessarily pay well, that probably had a crap schedule. I've worked retail myself. It isn't always great. But to do it without any complaint, without any of us even knowing that there was any issue, my parents had 3 kids, is amazing to me. And then as I was growing up, my dad always gave her the credit, always. He would tell us all of the time, anything extra you have is because your mother works. Anything extra you have is because your mother works. I mean, that was like the mantra in my household. Even though my dad did work, and he worked extra, just like some of these guys do now. Just like Eric does, he picks up side jobs and picks up all these extra things. And then there's still days like yesterday where my allergies were acting up. I was not super productive member of the household. I mean, he cleaned our bathroom, he cleaned our bedroom, he vacuumed the entire house, did like 6 loads of laundry, like just endlessly grateful for having a genuine partner to help with those things. And as another woman, so filled with admiration for women like Emily who can stay at home and raise her children and spend all of that, time and energy doing all of those things, because I just know that I am not. That's not something that I could do, and I think it's wonderful that she can. But whether you are a working parent or a stay-at-home parent, and now even, it's much more common for stay-at-home dads than it ever was in, previous years. But like, if you're capable of doing that, like, all the kudos to you, because I know how hard you're working. And it's amazing. So good for you. Hats off to you. And then also, obviously, you guys know that I just adore my mom and, all the things that she was able to do for us and stay home with us and all of that. Because again, I'm not built that way. I stayed at home on my maternity leave with Nathan, and that was about as much as I could do with that. So anywho, this is the finished card. And this is the only one I'm going to finish. The other 2 panels I did color while I was at work, just so I could kind of show you. These ones are the unframed ones. I did color them very similarly just because when I take my pictures, I like for them to be matchy-matchy. But they're really beautiful. So if you're interested in them, I would encourage you to go over to Emily's blog. She only has them open for a certain amount of time for purchase. And I think this time she's closing it up on the 25th. So thank you guys so much for joining me, and I will catch you on the next video. Bye.